Testing, test. Hello, my two students. I hope everything's going well. Thank you for working on the grant proposal. We submitted that last year. I'll just give you a general idea how that worked. We received that grant proposal and we had to redesign the curriculum. And we decided to do was a 20-day workshop during the summer, and that workshop went well. But one thing that I was not accustomed to was, even though we did heavy recruitment and we received commitments from 24 participants, and so you notice that in your budget that we went with 24 participants because that gave them $100 a day, so it's $2,400 per person times 24. That's over near $50,000 we spent on just the stipends. So that's very excessive, but it went very well. But one thing that I didn't really get used to was, even though we had 24 people who were committed and had signed contracts, 19 showed up. 5 still didn't show up. That goes back to what I thought of during when I just read up on airlines and how they overbook flights, and they have a mathematical analysis, and they concluded that even though that they sell 150 tickets, that 15 people will not show up for that flight no matter what. And I was like, man, that's why they overbook flights, because they know that no matter what, a certain percentage of people will not show up for that flight. They'll either be delayed at another airport, or they'll be late, they'll oversleep, or they just won't go on their flight. So we saw that with 24 participants. I had 5 just not show up for various reasons. They had medical issues. Some just didn't want to go. They realized that they couldn't make that many days in a row, and that was very frustrating for them. So I had to pull from the wait list. I had a wait list designed, and that was very nerve-wracking, but it got done, and that was very good. So that's what we saw with our grant, and hopefully that activity I did last week kind of lets you see how you have to design and develop a curriculum just for a proposal. And then once you get that acceptance, then you have to implement that. Very stressful and rewarding, though. You're able to educate 24 educators in Mississippi. We went with Meridian and Kemper, and even though it said that it was for LREs, we were able to get a clearer definition of what a low-performing school district was. And the definition we received was, as long as we partnered up with a school district that was low performing based on title money, then we could also expand out. So we used Meridian School District as our partnership, and we gave them 24 slots to fill, and they only filled around 12 because many teachers don't want to give up their summer. And then we were able to then take those other 12 available slots and offer those to other school districts that were not LREs. So it kind of worked out for us. And it's very successful. And now we're getting word that they may or may not fund it again next year, which is fine. It's a lot of work. But now we're hearing that they will fund it. So it's kind of, funding is always up there, and but that's how that works. So this week is our last week. I'd like to let you know that I've enjoyed having our conversations and reading your homework assignments and walking you through the journey of curriculum. But I would be a failure as a professor if I didn't kind of guide you towards comprehensive exams, even if you're choosing not to take comprehensive exams. For example, if you're in the alternate route program and you want to take the PLT. But the comprehensive exams, I just want to give you an idea of what they are and how you would have to journey that. So let me go and show you. I'll pause this right now, and then we'll continue on. All right, so now what I want to do is just talk to you briefly about comps and how that process works. The comprehensive exam is an idea of testing a graduate student at a level to let them graduate with their knowledge. Now, when you go for your master's degree, specialist degree, or your doctorate degree, there's usually a comprehensive exam checkpoint in there. Some programs have what's called a preliminary comp and then a comp. Some programs have a comp and an oral comp. So you'll have, that's where you have to then go defend orally your comprehensive exam. It just depends on the program and how that wants. The alternate route program at Mississippi State University allows students to take the comprehensive exam or take the PLT for praxis. That's up to them. Specialist program requires a COMPS. The doctorate program, depending on which program you're in, requires a comprehensive exam and an oral COMPS. They're supposed to be very stressful, and that's what they're designed to do. They're supposed to put you under an extreme amount of pressure. People get upset when you're told that. COMPS is supposed to be something very stressful, and people go, they start really stressing out. And that's something that is supposed to happen. There is a point in academics that you should be stressed out, and COMPS is one of those points. Your dissertation defense, elements such as that, when you're moving up these degrees, stress should become a factor in this. And with stress comes the need for knowledge. So what we're going to look at is how COMPS should be written and how you should address that. Generally, what a COMPS is, it depends on your program, but the way we do it at MSU Meridian is you do not receive a COMPS study guide. There is a formal one online that you would receive. It is very basic. It just talks about curriculum and assessment and those elements like that. But what COMPS is supposed to do is you're supposed to look back at all the stuff you've known, all the stuff that you've learned in all your courses, and have that knowledge going into the test. This is where many students complain. They say, well, I didn't get a study guide. Well, you're not really supposed to receive a study guide, although we sometimes provide those to students. And Mississippi State started putting those online, and that's what they started moving towards. So you can go to Mississippi State's website, College of Education, Graduate, and there's a COMP study guide. It is a very basic study guide. It's a slippery slope. If we sit down with a student and we give them a COMP study guide and we don't give a COMP study guide to another student, then they're going to complain about that. If we do give a COMP study guide to everybody, then some people haven't taken those classes. Their program of study might have been different, especially at the specialist program. So there's always going to be those complaints. So the faculty at Mississippi State gives a generalized COMPS, and the questions are actually very general. For example, there may be a curriculum question which asks about philosophy of education. Well, that's a very general answer, and you can pull those answers from all your other classes. Very simple, very easily. The number one thing that I see with COMPS is the lack of preparation. I don't like, so whenever you take COMPS, you're going to come into a classroom and the secretary is going to be there and she's going to give you one question and say you have 2 hours to type. You actually get to type your answers on a computer lab. So that's kind of that's a benefit for the student. And with that, we see students who they come in, they're not prepared for anything. And they think that this is just going to be a basic test. 2 hours, think about how long it would take you to type one page. You can type one page. If you know the information, you can probably type a page in 15 minutes. So 15 times, that'd be 8 pages. You should be around 8 pages, 5, 10, 15 pages. It's up to you on your COMPS. And we always tell our students that. Make sure you're writing. Make sure you know information. Put stuff on the computer and type. That's the main thing. We rarely get that, though. We've had students go into COMPS and they sit down. They say, I'm ready for COMPS. They sit down and they type one page. And you're like, that's not going. Now, could it pass? We'll see. But when you get to COMPS, you really want to have all that information just, in your head. You know assessments. You know research. You know the current trends in your education system. If it's mathematics, you know the major organizations. You've read the major math organization websites and their newsletter. If it's social studies, you've read the NCSS. You know what the new social studies movement is. You know where technology is coming into play. You know what No Child Left Behind has done. All these elements like that. So you know this, and you're going into this when they present you the question. So you've got all this in your head. This also has trouble with some students. I say, you need to have some sources in your head. You need to have some information like, you say, what is the new social studies movement? You need to know Russell and Byford. You need to know these names in the back of your head that you can mention those in your article. You need to have, you don't need to have them perfectly cited. That's not going to happen. But you definitely need to have that in your head. Now, if you can cite them, that would be even better. But that's what you need to have. So your head should hurt going into comps. What we see is some students do very well in comps. They take it that approach. They spend a month getting ready for comps. They're a full-time school teacher, that's what we're all working hard. And then on the weekends, they're studying for comps and they're breaking it down. They're contacting their instructors and they're saying, hey, remember I took your advanced planning course. What can you tell me about comps? What can you tell me to get me ready for comps? And they're asking for information. Where would this be going? And that's fine. That's absolutely understandable. You can do that. And then they go into comps and they just unload their information. Boom, there it is. And then they leave and they're like, I got this. And then there's the opposite approach. The students who don't get ready for comps and they just show up and they take the test and then they email their instructor and they go, man, I wasn't ready for that. This is not fair. I had headaches. I've had all kinds of issues and this is not right. They start looking for those excuses. But it's beyond my control because what happens is we grade comps on on this approach right here. We blind it first. We code the test so we don't know whose it is. So this would be your test packet. And this is your test packet. This test packet is sent to a professor. It could be me, it could be someone who's in your area. And that person grades it. So there's 4 questions. And if the person says, okay, pass, 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 fail. So they have taken your test and they failed you on one of your questions. Well, that means you failed comps. All right, 1 question, it means you failed. So you're done. No, wait. We need to make sure, though, that you failed comps. So this rater has graded you as pass, 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 fail. So then it goes to a second rater. No matter what, it goes to 2 raters. So 2 raters no matter what. So this rater says, okay, pass, 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 pass. They disagree with the other one. So you've got 1 pass and 1 fail. So then it goes to a third grader. All right, now, if this one said pass, 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 fail, pass, 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 fail, then that's 2 fails, you fail. Now, if it goes to, now, on the opposite approach, if it's all passes and all passes, then you pass. The third rater's there as a check. I've told students that, I was like, I didn't even grade your comps because it goes to 3 people that it's up to the graduate coordinator where those go to. I do grade comps and I try to advocate for the student, but some majority of the time when we're grading comps, it's just there's not enough material on there. There's not enough. So let's look at this screen here. I'll slide over here. These are some comp questions that may or may not have come in the past for this class, for curriculum. So this is very simple. Look at this one. As reflective practitioners, we realize that our philosophy of education leads us to value certain theories, methods, and strategies of teaching and learning and to reject or minimize others. These beliefs directly impact our classroom practices. All right, so that's the first sentence right there. And that's 2 sentences, and that's a lot of information. As reflective practitioners, okay, I'm a practitioner and I reflect on what I do. So that's what that term means. We realize that our philosophy of education leads us to value certain theories, methods, and strategies of teaching, learning, and to reject or minimize others. All right, so my way of thinking, however I am, I'm a realist or an idealist or a metacognitionist, all those ideas, changes me to reject some strategies. But all teachers reject some strategies however they want to. Some may reject technology. Some may reject direct instruction. That's up to them. Describe 3 of your key beliefs about teaching, their impact in your current or future classroom, and the educational theories that support these beliefs. So that's this right here is the whole comp question. Describe 3 of your beliefs about teaching impact and how that goes against your theories or past theories that you've studied. So that's simple as that. So I believe it. Okay, so let's brainstorm. Technology is great. One-on-one student interaction is very important, and getting stakeholders involved. There's my 3. If I get parents involved, then I'm good to go. If I use technology, it'll enhance education. And if I can limit my class size, then I'll do a better job. So what theorist, what research that goes against? Then you need to go into realism and idealism and all those isms that you've seen, Dewey and all those pragmatists, all those areas. So you need to pull that up as well. So I've included 4 videos that I've done in the past. Some of y'all may have seen these. These are 4 videos about different various topics. If you need to re-hit your theories or theorist. That's a very simple comp question. But what you see is people read this when they sit down for their comps and they go, oh, I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost. I can't read that. You just got to break that down. This first part is just the preface. And then, boom, here's your test question. And you can write about that in a heartbeat. You can write about technology and how technology is brought into curriculum and all those other ones. You can spend a whole page on that, 2 pages easily. And that's very simple. Well, so that's a very straightforward comp question. Here's the next one. There are multiple definitions for the term curriculum. Discuss at least 2 definitions of the term, including the definition you have adopted based on your beliefs, the relationship between curriculum instruction and assessment, and 3 social forces that impact curriculum developments. That one deals with curriculum and how it has a different definition. So your homework, your major project this week is, I want you, now these people who take comps, they have a 2-hour window. I want you to outline, step 1, outline on 1 page, outline your response to these questions. Simple as that. Outline. And then answer them. Outline and then answer. So this is a very simple project. What I would do, here's what I would do. And I know you may not want to do this, it's up to you. Because you're thinking now, he's saying that there's 6 to 8 pages each. So I got a 16-page paper this week. Nah. Here's what I would do. I would spend 1 to 2 hours outlining each one of these answers. So you're up to 2 to 3 hours total. I would outline it. I would go to EBSCOhost, to Eric, and I would research, and I would outline how I would do this. And here's the next thing I would do. I would sit down, and I'd tell my husband or my wife, or whoever is at the house, grandma, mom, whoever, I'd say, I need 2 hours. Time me. I'd have my outline there, and then I would write my answer without looking at anything except my outline. And I would just type and type and type for 2 hours. That's what I would do. I was debating on whether bringing you here to campus and having you sit down for 2 hours to answer one of these questions. I'm not going to do that. You're going to get more out of this by doing this at the house. So that's what I would do. So you're looking at 6 hours total. You can do it on a Saturday or whatever. I would do 1 hour outline, 1 hour outline, and then you're going to do a 2-hour answer, a 2-hour answer. Now, you can say, I'm not doing it. You can say, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do it at all. But this is actually going to make you a better student. Or I'm not going to take comps. I'm going to do the PLT. Think about it. Or I've already taken comps. This is actually going to make you a better student because you're going to be able to do this on other comps. And comps never goes away. When I was working on my PhD, I had preliminary comps just to enter the program. They set me down and made me take a comprehensive exam just before I even took a class. That was nerve-wracking. It was a very simple question. It was describe educational theories and look at one teaching strategy that you like and go with that. So I had just written a research paper for my master's program. So I got that master's program out. I studied it, I analyzed it, and I was able to bring that in my head into the, I'd asked them, I said, what's this preliminary about? I said, it's about teaching strategies. Teaching strategies. I was like, all right, I got this. So I knew several teaching strategies in my head, so I got that. When I finished up my coursework, after I finished up 33 long hours of doctorate program courses, I had to take my comprehensive exams, where if you fail those, you're out. So I took those, and it was a 4-question comps, where 3 of them were in a lab, and 1 of them was a take-home comps, which was very intense. So I had to do that. And then, so that's how that worked. That's my last comps I ever took. I passed that. And then I had to do then they let me go into my dissertation stage. So comps will always be there in all the major programs you take. So that's a very simple. So all you got to do to finish this course up and wrap a big old bow on it is 2 outlines of each one of these. If you need help, here's some videos that I put on there, like lectures. And then 2 answers for each one. Real simple. I like this one. The multiple definition one is going to be, this one's going to be the harder one, because you jump into EBSCOhost or ERIC and you type in definition of curriculum, you're going to get 1,000 answers. So you're going to have to differentiate on that one. So that's going to be more work. But you can look at this one like relationship between curriculum, instruction, and assessment, testing, and all that's easy. 3 social forces that impact curriculum development. Poverty's one. School budgets. Different definition of family, at-risk students, all those elements like that. So very simple, very easy. Sorry I took so much time. When I get into comps, I really just, it makes me, my head just starts exploding with comps, because I've seen so many different kind of comps, and I've seen a lot of answers. I'll just give you one more war story. I saw something like this right here, 3 social forces. You'll be reading someone's paper and it says at-risk students is 1 social force. And you're like, yeah, this person's getting it, and then they just stop. And you start flipping the page, going, well, where's the rest of the answer? It's like they only knew 1. It's like, man. And you just can't hide. You can't hide that you don't know it. So very simple, very easy assignment. You can turn these in by Sunday, Sunday night, midnight. Sunday, midnight. Thank you so much. I hope everything's going well.